Hey everybody, it's Dr. Dost. Welcome back to my channel, Biblical Languages and Literature. Before we get started with our study of second-person masculine singular perfect verbs in the Peal stem, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell to be notified when I publish additional videos in this series. And please be sure to share this video on social media. I'd really appreciate your help in getting the word out about this channel. All right, let's get started. So today we're looking at second-person masculine singular verbs, second-person masculine singular verbs in the Peal stem. And the Peal stem is the basic stem, or in many grammars, it'll be called the G stem, And the Peal in Aramaic corresponds to the Kal, or the Pa'al in Hebrew. So the first form that we encounter is the verb yahavt. Yahavt in Daniel 2:23. Now, one of the things we're going to notice about the personal endings on second masculine singular suffix conjugation or perfect verbs, I use those terms interchangeably. I prefer suffix conjugation, by the way, because it's more descriptive, whereas perfect is more of a prescriptive term. But whatever you choose to call it, perfect or suffix conjugation verbs. So in this case, the personal suffix tav is vocalized with a schwa, but other second masculine singular forms are going to be vocalized with a kamatz. So here we have the form yahavt, which comes from the root yud he beit, which means to give in the Peal stem, yahavt. And in this instance, yahavt is found in the clause Di chochmata ugvrota yahavtli. Di chochmata ugvrota yahavtli, which means, word by word, for or because, chochmata, wisdom, ugvrota, and might or and power, yahavt li, you have given to me. And so in this case, Daniel, in the broader context of this verse, Daniel is speaking to God and giving thanks. And he's giving thanks to God because di chochmata ugvota, wisdom and might, yahavt li, you have given to me. God has given to Daniel wisdom and might. Next, havaita. And havaita is the second masculine singular suffix conjugation form in the Peal stem, second masculine singular suffix conjugation form in the Peal stem of the root he, vav, yud. A lot of times, final yud verbs are going to be listed in the dictionaries or the lexica as final he verbs, so you may see it as he, vav, he. And that is exactly what we find in the Hebrew Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament. So havaita is the second masculine singular, Peal, meaning you were. You were. So a couple of observations. The first is that the personal ending in this case is ta, rather than just tav with the schwa. And secondly, this is a compound verb. Chazeh havaita. Chazeh is a Peal or G stem masculine singular participle, and havaita is the suffix conjugation verb. And it's going to be translated to you saw or you were seeing. It more closely corresponds to the imperfect in Spanish. But as with the imperfect in Spanish, one cannot always translate it exactly the same way. So you could make the case that here the better translation is either you were seeing or you saw. But syntactically, it's durative. The full phrase in which this is found is Ant malka chazeh havaita. Ant malka chazeh havaita. You, O king, saw, or you, O king, were seeing. That would be the more wooden translation. Given the context, I might be inclined to translate you, O king, were looking, because it's followed with and behold. Va'alu tzlem chad sagi, and behold a great image. So the better translation, I think, when we consider the context is, you, O king, were looking, and behold a great image. In Daniel 2:34, once again, we have chazeh havaita. This is a phrase that is recurring in Daniel because of the focus on dreams and visions. So chazeh havaita, this is going to be analyzed the same way. Daniel 2:41, we have the form chazaita, and this is the second person masculine singular form of the participle that we just encountered, chazeh. So this is going to be listed in the lexicon under the root chet zayin he. Chet zayin he. Technically, it's a chet zayin yud verb, but that's how the lexica list it typically. And chazaita raglaya means you saw the feet. You saw the feet. Chazaita raglaya. And this form, as you can see, occurs once more in this verse in the phrase chazaita parzela. Chazaita parzela, which means you saw iron. You saw iron. Chazaita parzela. Parzela is in the determined state, but it's not functioning so much as a definite noun as it is a qualitative. The noun is functioning qualitatively. You saw iron. So the definite article would not necessarily be required in translation. And in Daniel 2:43, we have it again. Chazaita parzela. Daniel 2:45 has chazaita again, and this occurs in the phrase kol kavel di chazaita di metura it gezeret even, which could be translated just as you saw that from a mountain a stone was cut. Kol kavel di chazaita di metura it gezeret even. So again, chazaita, same form, means you saw. In Daniel 2:47, we have a different verb in the second masculine singular G stem or Peal stem suffix conjugation, and it's the verb yechelta. Yechelta. And yechelta comes from the root yud kaf lamed. Yud kaf lamed, which generally means something to the effect of to be able to be able to. So the clause di yechelta lemigle razadna, di yechelta lemigle razadna means for you were able or you have been able to reveal this mystery. For you have been able to reveal this mystery. In Daniel 3:10, we get samta, samta, which is the second masculine singular suffix conjugation peal or G stem of the root sin yud mem. Sin yud mem. Samta. And samta means to put, to set, to make. And the phrase samta te'em means you made a decree. You made a decree. Samta te'em, you made a decree. You made a decree. Anta malka samta te'em, you, O king, made a decree. Anta malka samta te'em, you, O king, made a decree. Daniel 4:17, we have chazaita again. Second masculine singular of chet zayin yud or chet zayin he. Ilana di chazaita di rva utkif. Ilana means the tree. Di means that or which. The tree that you saw, chazaita. Ilana di chazaita di rova utkif, which grew and became strong, which grew and became strong. Ilana di chazaita di rova utkif, the tree which you saw that grew and became strong. In Daniel 4:19, we have a form that appears to be revait, but this form is a kari ketiv, and a kari ketiv or kare ketiv, as some people might say, both are correct, has the consonants of the form revita, but the vowels of the form revat. Revita and revat. And in the Masoretic tradition, the kari, which is an Aramaic passive participle, meaning it is read, as opposed to ketiv, it is written. They're just two different reading traditions, and so the kari here is revat. So let's have a look at the Hebrew Aramaic lexicon. Resh beit he means to become numerous, to become great, to grow tall in Hebrew and Aramaic. That gives us a sense of the semantic range. And when we look at the Peal forms or the G stem forms in the Aramaic portions of the Bible, we see that the third masculine singular is reva, to be expected. The third feminine singular is revat. The second masculine singular will show up as revait, which is written, that's the K there that you see, as revaita. And then notice the comment on Daniel 4:19. The Q, the kari, is poorly attested, revat. And then back to Daniel 4:19. So the verse begins, Antahu malka di revait, as it's written there. Antahu malka di revaita, it is you, O king, who has grown, utkeft. And this is a second masculine singular, G stem or Peal, of tav kuf pe, meaning you became strong. Antahu malka di revaita utkeft. At the end of Daniel 4:32, we have avadet. This is ayin beit dalet. Ayin beit dalet is the root, and it means you did or you have done. Ma avadet, what have you done? Ma avadet, what have you done? At the end of Daniel 5:22, we have yadata. Yud dalet ayin is the root, second masculine singular, and it means you knew. You knew. Very similar to the Hebrew form. And the clause, kol kavel di chol dana yidata, kol kavel di chol dana yidata, means although you knew all of this, although you knew all of this, although you knew all of this. Kol kavel di chol dana yidata. Daniel 6:13 has the form reshamta. And this is the second masculine singular, meaning you signed, as in you signed an injunction. Asar reshamta. So the longer phrase, hala asar reshamta di chol anash, did you not sign an injunction that every man, ... Hala asar shamta di chol anash, did you not sign an injunction that every man, and it continues on. We have reshamta again in verse 14, and the phrase ve'al isara di reshamta, ve'al isara di reshamta means and concerning or concerning the injunction that you signed. So now let's have a little quiz. I'm going to bring up some forms, and I want you to pause the recording and read them and see if you can determine whether these are first-person common singular forms in the Peal or G stem suffix conjugation, or whether they're second masculine singular suffix conjugation forms in the G stem or the Peal. All right, so the first one, Daniel 2:23, we have the form Yehavt. Look at the context and see if you can determine whether this is a second masculine singular or a first common singular. Go ahead and pause the recording. And the answer here is that it is second masculine singular. Chochmeta ugvota yehavtli. Wisdom and might you have given to me. Wisdom and might you have given to me. Daniel 2:26. See if you can pronounce that form. Chazet. Chazet. Is that first person or second person? Well, the clause in which it is found, Lehoda utani chelma di chazet ufishrei, Lehoda utani chelma di chazet ufishrei, means to make known to me the dream that I saw and its interpretation. Lehoda utani chelma di chazet ufishrei, to make known to me the dream that I saw and its interpretation. All right, how about Daniel 2:31? Try to read it out loud. Pause the recording if you need to. The verse begins, Ant malka chazeh havaita. Ant malka chazeh havaita. You, O king, saw, or you, O king, were looking. And so this is a second person masculine singular form here. Daniel 2:34, we have the same thing, right? How about the form havet in Daniel 7:2? Havet. Is this second masculine singular or first common singular? Have a look at the context and a look at the form and see what you come up with. Go ahead and pause the recording. Reading from Daniel 7:2, Ane Daniel va'amar, and so ane and va'amar are both G stem or Peal participles, generally translated, if you want to do it in a more wooden fashion, Daniel answered and said. We see this language in the Gospels actually with Jesus. Jesus answered and said to so-and-so. And so here in Aramaic, Ane Daniel va'amar, Daniel answered and said, Chazeh havet b'chezvi im lelia. Chazeh havet b'chezvi im lelia. Chazeh is that participle that we've seen before. So we have three Peal participles, or three G-stem participles in this verb, ane, amar, and chazeh. But chazeh is part of a compound verb with havet. Chazeh havet. I was looking, or I saw, b'chezvi, in my vision, im lelia. Let's translate it by night. Literally, it looks like with the night, but in my vision by night. And so havet is going to be first person common singular. And let's do one from Ezra 6:12. Summit. Summit. And summit is found in the clause Ana daryavesh summit te'em. Ana daryavesh summit te'em. I, Darius, made a decree. I, Darius, made a decree. And therefore, summit is first person singular. A lot of times the independent personal pronouns are going to give it away. And that's the case here with ana, I. I, Darius, made a decree. Summit is first person common singular, Peal or G stem in the suffix conjugation of sin, yud, mem. Well, I hope this lesson was helpful. Go back and watch it again and keep rewatching the video until you have a command of this material, and then go on to the next one. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell to be notified when I publish additional videos in this series, and be sure to check out the playlist for Biblical Aramaic. I have videos for people of all proficiency levels. Please leave comments down below or any questions that you might have. I really enjoy getting feedback from you so that I can make this channel even better. See you next time, everybody.